Okay, Dr. Alex, City of Bridges Chiropractic here, coming to you live. This is my first ever Facebook Live. Wanted to try to make it a little bit relaxing. That's why I put my hat on. And I haven't been to the barber in a while, so I didn't have a fresh fade to show you guys. I wanted to hide that a little bit. I wanted to give a big shout out to thanks Dr. Pam. She's sitting right next to me, working this evening, kind of producing this show. We have Heather back at home. She'll be fielding some texts or some questions that you may have this evening. Lindsay's at home preparing for our next workshop. So we're going to actually make this into a webinar. We're going to go live tonight for a period of time. We got some amazing stuff in store for you. And then we're going to also go live again on Thursday at 7 o'clock to cover the second half of this thing. So be sure if you learn something tonight that you share that with family members and with friends. We have 3 objectives that I want to get through tonight, specifically when we're talking about your immune system in relation to the world that we are currently living in. Our first objective is to give you and to show you how to think and how to filter out facts and misinformation, because there's a lot of facts, there's a lot of misinformation. We can get inundated with what's out there. I want to make it as bare bones and simple as possible for you. You understand the reality of the world that we're currently living in, and then effective strategies that you can begin to follow to improve the efficacy of your body's ability to live in the world that we're currently living in. The second thing that we want to discuss this evening is something I've been getting a lot of questions on, and that's supplements. What do I take? How much do I take? I hope that I can answer some of those questions for you this evening. And the third thing that I want to discuss is why it's more imperative now, as we understand the disease, COVID-19 and the coronavirus and where we're at, why it is so important that we keep health at the forefront of our priorities. And I want to talk to you and explain to you how the 5 essentials of Max Living are so valuable to you and to your family's health, not just today, but as we move forward. The more we understand about this disease, the more that we know that the healthier you are, the better your outcomes. So we've got a lot of fun in store for you. We got a lot of information in store for you. If you have some questions, go ahead and pop those up right in the comment screen, and we'll be able to answer those for you. If you've never seen my face before, a little bit about me. I am the clinic director at City of Bridges Chiropractic. We're coming up on 9 years here in the Pittsburgh market. I'm a Pittsburgh guy, born and raised, love the city, love everything that we're about. I'm a father of 3, and my kids and my wife are running around here somewhere, so you may just pick up a little bit of their noise, hopefully none of their faces this evening as we move forward. Little story about my kids. So kids are just so observant and pick up on what is going on in the world. So the other day, we got a big family. We got lots of friends that like to come over and visit. My kids are used to some type of a visitor. So about 2 weeks ago, my son goes to my wife, hey, mommy, who's coming over today? And Jenna said, nobody, buddy. And well, when am I going to go to school? I don't know, buddy. We don't know when we're going to go back to school. Can I see Abe, my best friend? We don't know when we're going to see Abe again, buddy. He goes, what is going on around here? So even 5-year-olds are now beginning to realize that life has changed for many of us, and we don't know when that life's going to get back to normal. I know a lot of you are utilizing this time to build family relationships, to work on different avenues and aspects of your life. I commend you and I celebrate you with that. Keep up the good work. The other thing that we really want to get into this evening is to just give you some hope, because I realize that right now we live in a world where hope is few and far between whenever it comes to our well-being. I want to give you some hope in times of fear. And then I want to give you some knowledge. Really, my main objective when I was preparing for this workshop is to help you understand just how amazing your body is, how you were created for health, how you were created for abundance, how you were created for well-being. And I know everything in the news right now is telling us that we're broke, that there's nothing that we can do, that this is perhaps end times. I mean, I've heard that phrase so much over the last couple of weeks. I really don't believe that we're there. And in fact, the more that you understand about your body, the more that you understand about how you work, the more effective and the more gratifying you can go moving forward through these difficult times, because you were fearfully and wonderfully made. Your body is amazing. We were designed for abundance and for health and for well-being. And I really hope that we can begin to drive home that point for you this evening and give you the action steps in order to move forward in those footsteps. So let's talk a little bit about COVID-19, what it is. I mean, we all are aware of this disease process at this time. It's all over the news. We all know that we're currently in a global pandemic as a result of this microbe and as a result of this virus. But oddly enough, this isn't a new virus. The CDC, from the research that I've been doing, first began to find and note and document the coronavirus in the 60s. So this is not something that just came out of Wuhan or wherever we're pointing fingers at right now. While it may be mutated there, we've known of the coronavirus for quite some time. WebMD last year, 20% of the common colds that were diagnosed were a result of the coronavirus. So it's not new. It's probably something that you've come in contact with in the past. And in fact, it was responsible for 20% of illnesses and colds last year, according to WebMD. But regardless of wherever it is, whatever your personal beliefs are, man, I have a lot of them. I'm going to try not to get into too many of those personal beliefs this evening. But regardless of where you're at, where your beliefs are, the reality of the world is that things have changed. And it's imperative now that we begin to follow the action steps, the procedures, the protocols in order to live in a changing world so that our body can adapt and that we can thrive. Okay. So I'm sure at this point, I don't have to spend too much time on this next slide about what the symptomatology is of COVID-19 and the coronavirus. The most common symptoms that we're going to see that are being talked about in the news is fever, shortness of breath, and a cough. So obviously, if you're experiencing those symptomatology, you're going to want to seek out a medical professional to have the diagnosis, perhaps have the tests run. There are a few of them out there. I don't even really know where to tell you to go in the Pittsburgh market in order to get that. But if you're experiencing those symptoms, those are definitely things that you want to self-isolate, get away, and get in the hands of a medical professional in order to move forward and to understand what action steps need to be implemented into your life in order to overcome and in order to heal. But at the same time, what I want to spend a few moments talking about this evening is the celebration of some of the symptomatology that this disease process presents. And I'm going to show you just how amazing your immune system is and how much of the symptomatology that is associated with the coronavirus isn't a result of the actual virus causing the symptoms, but it's your body's innate intelligent response to the invading pathogen into the virus to expel that and to get that out of your body. So what we want to focus on this evening is prevention and resistance. So what I don't want you to think is that the information I'm going to give you tonight is going to cure or prevent the coronavirus. That is not my intention. And unfortunately, I've seen that phrase thrown around a lot. I would be leery of any medical professional who are using cure. What I do want to show you this evening, what my intention is this evening, is to show you what healthy people with strong immune systems do so that you can give yourself a fighting chance in today's environment and in today's world. Okay. So now that we know what the disease is and what the symptoms are, let's really begin to dive in and focus on what we can do in order to build a strong immune system so that we can fight off sickness and we can fight off disease. What I don't want you to do this evening is to focus on the symptomatology and what you learned about how long it has been around. Okay, those are facts. What I want you to begin to focus on this evening is to begin to change the way that you think about your body, how you function, and how you heal. This is the next phase in healthcare, and I believe it more today than I ever have in my entire life. Because when we take a look at the numbers of this particular disease, when we take a look at the numbers that are affecting people, we obviously know that there are a large portion of our population who have tested positive for this thing and are showing symptomatology. I am not here to argue that fact, but I am also here to bring to light that there is a much larger portion of our population that is not showing those symptomatologies. So the way that I propose this to my patients in a recent newsletter, if you don't get our emails, we actually have our email address down there below. You can type some questions, sign up for our email list. We hopefully provide a ton of great value at no cost to you. But the scenario that I presented to my patients and to our practice members is this. Let's say there's 100 people in an office, right? Now, you're not allowed to do that in today's world. I think the number's 10 by the CDC. But let's just say before all those implications and those precautions, there's 100 people in the office. And there was a virus and there was a bacteria that somebody in that office had. We all know that there's not going to be 100 people that leave that office that are going to show symptoms and become sick. We know that for a fact. So let's just say, and I'm just going to throw some random numbers out there. Let's say 6 people began to show symptomatology of the disease, 6 of them, which means that 94 of them don't. 94 of them walk out of there fine, are not affected, show no symptomatology, no sign of sickness. Our medical system, and I'm not here to point fingers, but the reality of the world that we live in is that our medical system has put all of the time and all of the effort into studying the 6 individuals who got sick and what we can do in order to get well. and neglected to take a look at the 94 people that didn't get sick, that thrived, that came out of that thing stronger. And what I want you to focus on are becoming one of those 94. What you can do to strengthen your immune system so that, God forbid, something like this ever happens again, you do not become one of those 6. Doesn't it make sense to study the 94% that succeeded as opposed to the 6% that didn't? And this isn't a new mode of thought. In fact, the argument has been going on for quite some time. Most of us are familiar with Louis Pasteur. He's kind of the father of microbiology and the microbe and the germ theory of sickness. And the germ theory of sickness is really what westernized medicine is about. A pathogen invades the body. It causes particular symptomatology, which causes particular disease. And that is how westernized medicine approaches sickness. But there was this other cat at the same time as Louis Pasteur. His name was Claude Bernard. And he said, no, it's the host individual that is more responsible for what's going to happen if that individual is exposed to a germ or to a pathogen or to a virus. So here's what you get. Louis Pasteur, he was saying it's the seed that makes people sick. Okay. When Claude Bernard was saying, no, it's the soil that makes people sick. And they argued back and forth throughout their lifetime. They were like the Tiger King. They were like Joe Exotic and what's her name? Carol? Yeah, I'm kind of trying to keep up with the times. They disliked each other and they argued back and forth about what actually caused disease in a human being. Was it the germ or the seed, or was it the soil? Was it the body? And Louis Pasteur, as legend has it, on his deathbed, said it is the soil. Okay, so while we definitely believe, and we know, I'm not here to argue the fact that germs don't cause sickness, but they don't cause sickness in everybody. And the reason for that is because of the soil that seed and that virus comes in contact with. The healthier your soil, the healthier you are, the less chance of that germ invading and causing sickness. And that's really what I want my focus in, not only this evening, but for my practice members and for my patients and for those that are out there that are looking for health, is what can you do to maximize the efficacy of your soil so that you have a fighting chance whenever you come in contact with sickness and disease. All right. So in order to improve your soil, one of the things that you want to focus on is focusing on improving the efficacy of your immune's natural response, your immune system. Okay. And this system is absolutely amazing. It baffles my mind every time that I open something up about this. Every time I read something, Carol Baskin, that was her name. Somebody gave me that. Thanks, Josh. I appreciate that. So where we're at right now, as far as the immune system, it's a collection of structures and processes that protect us from ourselves, from abnormal cells, and pathogens, viruses, and bacteria. So when the body produces abnormal cells, danger-associated molecular patterns develop on the outside of that cell. They're called DAMPs, okay? You can look it up. It's immunobiology. And what happens is our immune cells recognizes those patterns, those danger-associated molecular patterns, and they remove those, okay? That's how you get rid of sick and diseased cells. The way that your body fights off invading pathogens and viruses and bacteria are these molecular patterns that are on the outside of viruses and bacteria. Are called pathogen-associated molecular patterns. And the white blood cells and the different immune cells of your body recognize those particular patterns and attack it with the full force of the immune system. Okay, there's little messengers on the virus, and that's bad news for the virus and good news for us, because that tells our immune system exactly how to attack that molecule, how to attack that virus, and how to attack that bacteria so that we can be well. Now, again, I told you tonight I wanted to change the way that you thought about your body and the health paradigm, because one of the first things that happens when you become sick is that you get tired and fatigued, really tired and fatigued. If you ever had the flu, making it to the bathroom is an endeavor. It's like the last half of a mile of a marathon. Okay, it's very difficult. And a lot of us who prescribe to the germ theory begin to believe that it's the virus or the bacteria that is causing us to be sick that's robbing our energy. And that's not the fact. The reason why you get so tired, the reason why you get so fatigued whenever you're experiencing symptomatology and whenever you're sick isn't because the virus or the bacteria is doing that to your body. It is that the immune system is taking the energy from other body systems, specifically the musculoskeletal system, to attack that virus and that bacteria, that invading pathogen, with the full force of the innate intelligence inside of your body. That's why you get tired. It's an intelligent response, okay? The second thing that happens whenever you get tired and not well is that your hunger decreases, because one of the biggest energy expenditures of your body is digesting your food. So what you don't want to be doing is digesting food and robbing energy from the immune system to fight off that sickness and disease. It's not the virus and the bacteria that's robbing your hunger. It's that your immune system is utilizing all of that energy to keep you alive, to get you out of this thing. I also believe this. I don't only believe that it's protecting you, and that's why you get sick and why you get tired and fatigued whenever you come in contact with the virus and bacteria, and your immune system is attacking that. It's doing what it's supposed to do. But I also believe, in terms of social isolation, a big phrase that's out there right now, and something that most of us are practicing, is that you literally don't want to go outside if you have the flu or you have the cold. Your musculoskeletal system doesn't have the energy to get you out to move. So not only is it protecting you, but it's protecting your neighbors. It's protecting your kin, that you're not out there infecting them and making their soil worse, okay? So again, what this evening is all about is helping you to understand the intelligence and the amazingness of your body. And I think that is step number one of understanding that it's not the virus or the bacteria that's making us tired, that it's our body's immune system shunting energy away from unnecessary, at the time, biofunctions so that we can fight off this virus and we can fight off this disease, okay? So now that we understand a little bit about the immune response, I mean, let's face it, I probably have hundreds of hours studying this thing, and I gave you guys a few moments in terms of how your immune system works. But that leads me to this next point. So what I want to lead into, and I think the next logical step is, if we want to be healthy in a time where the world is telling us that sickness and disease is very prevalent, we want to get our most bang for our buck, right? So if you want to be healthy, you want to focus on your digestive tract, on your immune health. The research that I've been reading that's been out there is showing that about 70% of your immune system is actually housed in your GI tract, in your gastrointestinal tract. 70%. That's a huge number. And while we're on the point of huge numbers, let's continue to talk about just how wild your digestive system is. You have about 70 trillion cells inside of the body. Thank you for whoever did that math. That is an enormous number. 70 trillion cells. Just talk about the amazingness of you. 70 trillion cells have you sitting in front of your phone, listening to this, interacting with your thumb. That just baffles your mind, the intelligence inside of your body. But again, if we're on the fact of pure numbers, not only do you have 70 trillion cells in your body, you have a 100 trillion cells in your digestive tract. You have more cells, bacteria in your gut than you do cells throughout your entire body. That just almost like, it's uncomprehendable, that number. So if we're taking a look at who you are, and we were talking about pure numbers, you're more bacteria than you are human. Now, we know that's not the fact, and that's not the point that I'm here to make. The point that I'm here to make is that if you want to be healthy, you better have good GI health. So if you've got a diagnosed GI issue, if you don't have regular bowel movements, if you got irritable bowel, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, a hyperpermeable gut, food insensitivities, these are all big warning signs that you are in that immune compromised category, and that your immune system is not working exactly the way that it's supposed to. Now, a lot of professionals stop there. Take some probiotics, balance the bacteria inside of your gut, and you're going to be well. I think that's step one. But step two is this, and it's not just your gut and the bacteria that's inside of there. It's what your gut does and how your gut responds and communicates with the rest of your body. And if we take that next step into understanding our immune system and how our body works, that next step leads to what's called the gut-brain axis. And this is how your brain communicates with your gut, but also how your gut communicates with your brain. It's this two-way communication, this two-way loop, and that takes place via a structure, specifically a nerve called the vagal nerve. And that vagal nerve originates right here in your brainstem, right at the base of your neck is the vagal nerve. And it's a big direct shoot, boom, down into your abdomen. Now think about this. Let's go back. The scenario that I like to use for this is, let's rewind back to 7th grade. You get up into 7th grade class, you're sitting in your geography class, and the teacher says, all right, time for a pop quiz. where do you feel that stress? Immediately in your gut. We all have had gut reactions, gut responses. We've all felt a stressful moment in our gut. And the reason for that is that literally, boom, you experience stress, your brain sends that signal down to your digestive tract, and GI system literally stops. That's that gut feeling that you get, is the brakes being hit on your digestive system. I'm in a stressful situation. My digestive system and that energy expenditure is no longer important. I need to use these energy systems elsewhere. It's the vagal nerve that's responsible for that. But the more that we understand about the vagal nerve and these microbiota, is that the more effective somebody's vagal nerve is, or vagal nerve tone, we've actually been able to see studies that they have healthier microbiota, which means that they have more good probiotics and less bad bacteria inside of your gut. The more vagal nerve tone that you have, the healthier that your nervous system is, the healthier your GI system is. But here's another thing that we've seen in rats and different studies. If we genetically change or manipulate a rat's microbiome in their digestive tract, that immediately begins to make mood changers where they eat more food, they exercise less, they become sedentary. So it's this two-way street of how your brain's communicating with your gut and how your gut is communicating with your brain that really is the first step in an effective immune system. And that's really what we as chiropractors work of removing interference in the nervous system to allow other bodies and other systems of the body to communicate appropriately so that we can be functioning the way that we're supposed to. So step one in a healthy immune system is to ensure that your gut-brain axis is functioning properly. Now, how do you determine that? I would love to have a communication with you and an open dialogue with you about your gut-brain axis. So what we're doing this evening, we've never done this before. If you text the word consult, you're going to see this number come up below. If you text consult to that phone number, we're going to set up a free Zoom conference. So you don't got to come into our clinic, okay? And me and you would have a discussion about your health, your different symptomatology, what you're experiencing, where your concerns and your struggles are at, to see if you're a candidate for what it is that we do in the clinic. And I am not charging for that Zoom consultation. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to text that number down below, right there. If you'd like to set up one of those consultations, I'd love to meet you. I'd love to talk to you about that. Go ahead and text the word consult to the number below. Okay. All right. So let's continue along with, I think another really, for me, I love talking about symptoms. And what I mean by that is I hate talking about symptoms, but I love talking about symptoms at the same time. And here's why. All right. So we think about earlier, I made the connection of viruses and bacteria causing fatigue, and how that's not actually the case. It's the virus or the bacteria that's causing an immune reaction. That immune reaction requires an enormous amount of energy, and that's why your fatigue and that tiredness happens. When we're talking about symptomatology, specifically fevers, coughs, and sniffles, and the reason why I want to talk about those three is because those are the most common symptoms that we're seeing associated with individuals that are affected by coronavirus and COVID, is that we've been told since a young age that these are bad and that they should be suppressed with drugs and medication. I am the complete opposite belief of that. I see fevers, coughs, and sniffles as an innate, intelligent response by the body and by the immune system to expel an invading pathogen. I'm going to spend some time. I'm going to skip over fevers, and we're going to talk about that in our next slide. But what I do want to talk to you about now are coughs, and specifically coughs, and we'll touch on sniffles a little bit as well. Okay. So specifically, this disease is a disease of the upper respiratory tract and the sinuses is where the research has been showing that this particular virus settles. Okay, so you've got a virus or a bacteria in your lungs and in your nose, and your body realizes that that virus and that bacteria is not there. It's not good for the body. It needs to get out. So what does your body do? It has you cough, and that coughing is literally pushing that virus out of your lungs and stopping that from settling and creating a biofilm. Because when viruses and bacteria create biofilms, that leads to pneumonia, and pneumonia is a bad deal. So when we suppress coughs, when we suppress sniffles with medications, we are actually hindering our body's intelligence to move forward, to fight off the virus and to fight off the bacteria. We want to celebrate these symptoms. We do not want to suppress them, because the more that we suppress them, the more we suppress the intelligence of the body of fighting back. It's one of our first lines of defense. In fact, when it comes to first line of defense, your first line of defense against a virus or a bacteria is a fever. And there's a lot of fear about fevers. But here is how I think about fevers. If you know me, you know I love my dog. I named my dog Atlas after the top bone in the neck. He's about 110 pounds of pure muscle. If somebody comes into our house who's not supposed to be here, Atlas is going to take care of that individual. Okay, that's what he's bred for. That's what he does. Suppressing a fever with a Tylenol is like me having an invader come into my house and me shooting Atlas. It's me getting rid of my first line of defense about protecting me, my family, and my children. We don't want to do that whenever it comes to a fever. This particular virus is very susceptible to heat. Most viruses and bacteria are. So what the fever does is it spikes the internal environment to get that virus and that bacteria from stop proliferating, from stop growing, and stop becoming a bad deal and ruining our soil. Does that make sense? So, of course, your fever gets up to 105 degrees. There's a problem there. And usually that's a neurological problem where your body's not communicating appropriately, and something that should have been taken care of in the past. But a fever is something that we do not want to celebrate. Fever is our first line of defense against this virus or this bacteria. When we're taking a look at how the body works, we want to realize that more often than not, the body is going to respond favorably for us and for our well-being and our future. And when we begin to meddle with that, when we begin to change that, when we begin to interfere with that, we're literally interfering with the innate healing potential, that God-given gift that each and every one of us have been given, because we tend to think that we're smarter than the body. Another amazing thing about fevers, let's get back to the social dissonance aspect that we were talking about a moment ago with the tired and the fatigue and the GI and no longer going out for food, right? But you can almost tell somebody who's sick. They're pale, they're sweaty, they're clammy. You know not to go near that individual. So now everybody who's sitting at home on your couch, I'm not pointing fingers at you if you're sitting at home at your couch. I commend you. You're doing what you feel is best for you and your family. I'm not pointing fingers. But if you get a fever, and you pop in a Tylenol so that you can feel better, that you can go to work, that you can go to the gym, you're not socially distancing yourself. You're allowing other people to perceive you as healthy and well and increasing the likelihood of the spread of that infection. Does that make sense? So that infection is that fever is not only there to protect us from that infection, but it's also a warning sign for our kin, for our family, for our community, that you're probably not somebody that I want to go near right now. You're probably somebody that I want to love and care about and provide maybe a home-cooked meal and see if there's anything that needs to be done around the house. But when we think that we're smarter than the body, not only do we suffer, but our friends, our family member, and our loved ones suffer. So before you point fingers at somebody else who might not be abiding by the guidelines, are you abiding by the guidelines of your body, what governs you, what heals you, and what allows you to work and function? And the more that you know, the more that you know, and the more that you can make a decision that is in the best interest of you, your family members, and your friends. Okay. So let's move into some other immune stressors. Okay. So we're all pretty much aware that stress is a bad deal. And I would say, and venture out on a limb right now, that stress levels are probably at their all-time highest. Okay. Now, I didn't live through WW2. I didn't live through Vietnam, right? But for me, I did live through 9/11. And I don't think that this was a stressful, I think that this time that we're dealing with now is more stressful than those terrorist attacks and those buildings coming down, at least for me personally. Okay. And stress negatively impacts your body's ability to fight off sickness and disease. Okay. So the two stress hormones, and actually on Thursday, I'm going to spend more time talking about stress and how to combat that. But what I want to leave with you this evening is that we oftentimes think that stress is a hormonal response, that cortisol and epinephrine are hormones that are elevated whenever we experience stress. And that's correct. But the reason why cortisol and epinephrine are elevated when we're experiencing stress is because our hypothalamus, our nervous system, recognizes a stressor and causes hormones, specifically cortisol and epinephrine, to be released. So stress is not necessarily a hormone issue, but is a neurological issue that is causing the hormonal issue. And if all we do is we go and fix B, the hormone issue without fixing A, then we've created a path where we're only focusing on the symptomatology. We tend to treat that for a lifetime as opposed to getting to the cause. And for me, when it comes to my health, my family's health, my community's health, my patient's health, I want to get to the cause of a problem. I want to figure out how to remove that cause so the body can function and heal appropriately. So specifically, the immune response, and again, I'm going to spend more time on this on Thursday, and it's amazing. You're not going to want to miss it. But there's two nervous systems in your body. And when the hypothalamus recognizes stress, it stimulates the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight or flight nervous system. Okay. And this nervous system is not responsible or really care too much about COVID or about the coronavirus, about the flu, about the common cold. The sympathetic nervous system is responsible for a prey trying to get you, or for you trying to get a prey so that you can feed your family. That's about it. Okay. So when your body isn't experiencing stress, you turn on the news and all you have is stress, death, numbers. It's getting worse. Your family's going to be broke. Your business is going to shut down. What you're doing is stimulating the sympathetic nervous system, which is not allowing you to fight off the things that they're telling you to be fearful of. What we want to focus on whenever it comes to these particular sicknesses and these diseases is the most important part of our nervous system in terms of long-term health and vitality, and that's the parasympathetic nervous system. And this is the system that has you rest, digest your food, absorb your nutrients, stimulate immune function, okay? So really what we as chiropractors do is we work on the synergy and the balance between the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system to give your body every fighting chance that it can have in order to not only, eliminate aches and pains that, a lot of people go to a chiropractor for, but to restore normalcy in the body's systems so that we can be healthy and we can be well and we get the most out of our body. So if you've been experiencing a tremendous amount of stress, you're feeling that in your shoulders, you're feeling that in your back, you're feeling that in your chest, and you have some concerns that stress is negatively impacting your health and your well-being, I want you to go ahead and text that consult number that we have below. Again, we're doing those free Zoom conferences this week to discuss your stress, your body's response to those stress, and effective strategies that you can begin to follow and implement to minimize and reduce that and maximize your body's response to that stress. Text consult below. It's a free Zoom conference. You won't have to leave your house. You will not have to come into our clinic for that free conference. That will be our first stepping stone in order to determine what you can do in order to be healthy, in order to be well. And I'm asking my patients, I know a lot of you are watching this. If you've got a family member or a friend that is dealing with, a lot of stress that's negatively impacting their immune system. These are the people that are always watching the news, always reporting negativity. These are the people that we want to have that consult with. These are the people that we want to speak hope into. These are the people that we want to have them understand that their body is infinitely more intelligent than their news station is telling them to be, that there should be more reliance inside of here than whatever government agency is going to take care of us. And thank God for all of those government agencies and those government workers that are out there working to try to figure this thing out. But I want you to have more reliance in the innate ability of your body than any politician has in your well-being and in your future. Okay. So how do we do that? What are our action steps that we take in order to improve the efficacy of our body to be healthy, in order to be well? And for me, my family members, and my practice members, we focus on what we call the 5 essentials of health. Okay. And these are the premise of what Max Living is all about. We talk about chiropractic because we're all chiropractors. We talk about nutrition, and we're going to talk about this evening nutrition. Okay, I'm going to spend some time talking about nutrition and what you can do to feed your body, to feed your family. On Thursday, we're going to talk about chiropractic. We're going to talk about mindset. We're going to talk about the specific exercise to improve your immune function. And then we're going to talk about the toxins that negatively impact your immune system and what you can do in order to effectively be well. So tonight, the next couple of minutes, we're going to talk about nutrition. We'll be back on Thursday to continue this discussion for you to be well. So make sure you share that link with your family and your friends. Make sure that you and everybody else that you feel needs to focus on their health, that they're tuning in to the City of Bridges Chiropractic Facebook page on Thursday at 7:00. All right. Let's get into everybody's favorite topic. What do I need to be eating? And what's really cool, as I've been talking to patients specifically, what they're doing with the excess time and the free time that they've had, It seems like across the board, more people are cooking from home, or experimenting with new recipes, or looking for different things to kill some time in order to eat well and in order to enjoy that. I know we've been doing that a lot. On the weekends, I've personally taken over a lot of the cooking. For me, it's a great stress relief. The kids like to ask questions. We actually have these safe little knives that they can chop the vegetables up. I got some sous chefs, which is great. It's great bonding for us, and we love to eat. If you take a look at our grocery bill, it can kind of get astronomical at times. So let's talk about this. When it comes to nutrition, I look at it like this, because most people want to talk about nutrition, about losing weight and looking better in their outfits. Okay, and those are great. I know we all want that. Okay, but really, what I want to focus on is really the underlying principles of why it is that eating important and eating good, healthy nutrients is valuable to you and to your well-being. All right. So think about this. We have a green pasture. And in that green pasture, you got some squirrels, you got some birds, maybe some fawn and some deer are running around. Green pastures tend to be pristine and beautiful to look at. And then you have a garbage dump. Okay. And in that garbage dump, we tend to have rats and flies and maggots and buzzards. Okay. Now, we take a look at that garbage dump and we say, man, I don't like looking at the rats, the flies, the maggots, and the buzzards. So we bring in an exterminator, and he starts eliminating all of the parasites, start eliminating all of the nasty things, the things that we don't want to look at. And we don't fix the garbage dump. And we come back to that garbage dump 3-4 weeks later, and what's going to be back at that garbage dump? The rats, the flies, the maggots, and the buzzards, because it was the environment, the soil, which we talked about at the beginning, that was causing the undesirable outcomes to show up. In this case, nasty animals that spread sickness and disease. So doesn't it make more sense, rather than bringing in an exterminator to get rid of the byproducts of what a trash dump does and brings into an area, doesn't it make more sense to clean up that trash dump and to create a green pasture? Okay. So when we're talking about nutrition, it's about creating green pastures where viruses and bacteria really don't stand a chance, where our bodies are so innately fed, are strong, that we're fighting off these things left, right, and center. Because I can promise you, you've come in contact with a lot more virus and bacteria that didn't make you sick in your lifetime than you've come in contact with virus and bacteria that did make you sick in the past. And that's because of what your soil was doing, how you've treated your body prior to being exposed to that virus or that bacteria. Am I telling you that if you eat clean and you follow my eating protocols, that I never, ever get sick? No, I get sick. Okay. But I get sick a lot less than the average person. That sickness lasts a lot shorter than the average person. That the medications that I haven't taken since high school don't need to go into my body, because my body is more of a green pasture than it is a trash dump. And I'm not here to point fingers and saying, how dare you create a trash dump? What I am here to tell you is, don't treat the symptoms that are associated with a trash dump. What do we know eating poorly causes? Even the medical literature will tell you that you eat bad, you're going to get high blood pressure, and you're going to have triglyceride issues. You eat bad, and your chances of cancer are going to go up. You eat bad, and your chances of depression and anxiety are going to go up. So when we take a look at diseases that kill human beings, and specifically kill Americans, it's heart disease and cancer. And we know that these particular diseases thrive in trash dumps. So rather than attacking heart disease and cancer, doesn't it make more sense to try to clean up the environments of our body so that those diseases do not have a chance to flourish and to thrive? Am I telling you that if you eat like I am, you're not going to get heart disease or cancer? No. But your chances of that happening are quite a bit lower than the average Americans. It's all about playing the numbers, understanding how your body works, and doing things that are in favor with your body works and less in favor of sickness and disease. So one of the easiest steps that you can begin to follow whenever it comes to sickness and disease is cutting out sugar. It's really step number one, okay? When we consume sugar, it creates a process called glycanation. So sugar begins to negatively impact proteins of the body, causing glycanation. And glycanation causes harmful compounds known as advanced glycogen end products, AGEs. And the more of these that are floating through our body, the less effective our immune system is. Okay, this is not me telling you, this is what immunological research shows. The more sugar that you consume, the more AGEs, advanced glycogen end products that are floating through your bloodstream, and these negatively impact your immune system. So if you want to be healthy and you want to be well, you need to cut out the sugars. Okay, it's really step number one of cleaning up your trash dump and turning that into a green pasture. Okay. So one of the things that we recommend to the community and to our practice members is what we call our advanced nutrition plan. Okay. So the advanced nutrition plan is really a plan that balances on restructuring your hormones and restructuring your cell membranes. Okay. Now, I had mentioned earlier that your body is essentially 70 trillion cells. It's a lot of cells. And all of those cells are surrounded by a bilayer, 2 layers of fat. Okay. So when we eat healthy, we fix the cell. When we fix the cell, we fix the tissue. When we fix the tissue, we fix the organ. When we fix the organ, we fix the organism. In this case, you. Okay. So in order to be healthy, we need to have healthy cells. And that's what our Max Living Advanced plan is all about. Now, a great side effect of this particular nutrition plan is that it's great at losing weight. People lose weight when they follow this advanced nutrition protocol. Okay. So if you struggle with nutrition, you've got a little bit of free time on your hands, and you're looking for an effective strategy to not only lose some weight, but more importantly, improve the efficacy of your body, text nutrition to the number below. Texting that number, you'll either get myself or my wife to have a Zoom conference with you on your nutrition. It'll be about 15 minutes, and we're not going to charge you for that consultation. We're going to see if you are a candidate for our nutrition program. You will leave that Zoom call with some action steps that'll be free of charge. But some of you are going to be looking for additional action steps that you can take over the next, let's face it, it seems like the world's not going to go back to normal for another 23 days. Okay. So just imagine what 3 weeks of focusing on your nutrition, what goes into your body, turning your body maybe a little bit more from a trash dump, a little bit more into a green pasture, what that'll do for you, not only during this difficult and trying time where everybody's worried about their health, but more importantly than that, what that'll look like for you in the future. Okay. So if you're ready to take your nutrition to the next level, if you're looking for some answers, if you're looking for somebody to just talk to during a Zoom conference because you're tired of being stuck at home, text nutrition to that number below, and we'll be happy to get on a conference call with you to give you some advice as to what you can do for your nutrition and to give you some insight as to what our nutrition coaching program looks like. We even talk cost structures with you so that you know what it would cost in order to get involved in something like that. Text nutrition to the number below. And it's a ton of fun, guys. You know, we have a lot of fun with our nutrition and helping those particular clients. Okay. But some freebies, things that you can begin to implement pretty much right away to improve the efficacy of your immune system. Elderberry has really become popular, really probably over the last 18 to 24 months. I love it. We actually have some elderberry syrup in our refrigerator right now. We just moved right before Christmas, and it kind of got pushed to the back of the fridge. I kind of forgot that it was there. The other day, I saw that we had this great elderberry syrup. And the reason why elderberry is really powerful as an immune supplement is because the amount of nutrients that are packed into the elderberry. So if you take a look at that particular berry, I mean, it is deep purple, all right? And typically the deeper color that a food product has, the more nutrients that are associated with that. And elderberries pack a huge punch in the amount of nutrients that are in there, okay? Again, what we're talking about now are not cures for anything. What we're talking about right now are things that help your body function. Because I could take elderberry and I could take hugely concentrated doses of that and put it inside of a corpse. I could give that corpse COVID-19. I give it the coronavirus. I give it the flu. And nothing is going to happen. Those elderberries are not going to protect that, okay? What we want to focus on when we're consuming food, when we're consuming nutrients, are what we can do and what we can consume that's going to support the innate responses of the body to keep us well. And it turns out that elderberry is one of those. A study on elderberry versus a placebo found that it decreased flu symptomatology by 4 days. Okay, so this stuff is powerful, and the research is pointing in the direction that this stuff works of fighting off sickness and disease. Another one that I personally love a little bit more than elderberry is garlic. Tastes great, something that's good to put into your food, something I put into a lot of our food this weekend as I was consuming that. But at the same time, garlic is a compound that has been used for a millennia, that ancient cultures have been using to help fight off infections, okay? And the active ingredient in garlic that fights off infections and boosts and helps supplement the immune system is allicin. Okay, allicin is released from a garlic clove or a bulb whenever you chew it, whenever you masticate it. So it's the allicin byproduct which shows to have very strong effects on the immune system. A study of individuals who supplemented with garlic decreased the reports of sickness by 63%. And if they did get sick, the duration of that sickness was decreased by 70%. Bottom line, eat some garlic. It tastes great, okay? The other one that I really like, and we've been consuming a lot of over the last couple of weeks, are citrus fruits. And most of us know that citrus fruits are valuable to us and good for our immune system because they're loaded with vitamin C, and vitamin C is a very potent antioxidant. Okay. One of the reasons why vitamin C is so effective of helping the immune system is because it actually helps the body produce white blood cells, which are immune cells. So when we're consuming vitamin C, we're actually helping our body to produce immune fighting and immune functioning cells to keep us healthy in order to keep us well. So those are the foods that we've really been focusing on. 3 foods. I wanted to make it real simple for you, give you the most bang for your buck: elderberry, garlic, and citrus fruits. Okay. Now, the reality of the situation is that the foods that we consume in today, because the soil has become so depleted, is that many of these nutrients have been depleted through the years. I don't remember the exact number, but it was something like a bowl of spinach that you ate, prior to WW2, you'd have to eat like 52 bowls. Don't quote me on that number, but it was literally like somewhere that high to get the same amount of minerals and nutrients. So because of what modern agriculture has done to our foods, the nutrient supply has decreased. So my family's first step of supporting immune health is consuming these foods. But our second step is realizing the reality of the world that we live in and supplementing in areas where we have been not functioning appropriately. So what I'm going to talk to you about next are really the questions that I've been getting the most over the last couple of weeks are: what supplements do I need to take in order to be healthy? I made that real simple for you guys. So what we formulated specifically for this workshop is our Immune Boost Bundle. And what you're going to be looking at there are 5 products and supplements that I've personally been using in order to help my immune system so that I can fight off sickness and disease and in order to be well. So if that's something that you want to do, if you're all in on this, text bundle to the number that you see below, and we will send you a link with instructions on how to have that delivered directly to your home. You won't have to leave the house. Shipping is going to be free. It's going to be covered on that Immune Boost Bundle. All right. So it'll come right to your front door. You'll get this bundle, exactly what you need. In order to get the instructions on how to order that, text bundle to the number below, and you'll get a response over the next couple of minutes as Heather's been working the switchboard and the phones of helping get these products, these consults scheduled and in your hands. I want to spend the next couple of minutes talking about each particular product. You do not have to just buy the bundle. If you want to buy individual products, maybe you got a couple of those at home, or you get an analogous supplement from a different brand that you've been using, by all means, continue to use that. I'm not here to sell you some supplements this evening. All right. What I'm here to do is to show you what I've been doing and answering the questions that I've been getting. What do I need to do? What have you been doing? What do I need to take in order to give myself a fighting chance because I'm afraid? Okay. So let's jump in to the first one, and that's vitamin D3. And most of us are aware of vitamin D3 and its importance. It's been all over the news and the media as of late. The best form of vitamin D3 is not through food or supplementation. The best means of vitamin D3 is sunlight, of being outside. But the reality of the situation is that it's April, and it's not really going to get much above 65 over the next couple of weeks. In order to get the appropriate levels of vitamin D, you need about 75% skin exposure for 20 to 45 minutes midday. Okay. Now, a lot of us have midday to be outside in order to do that, but unfortunately, our climate and the angle of the sun make it very difficult for our body to get it this time of year. So personally, what I've been doing is supplementing with 10,000 international units of vitamin D3. That would be 2 of these capsules within a 24-hour period. I do that first thing in the morning. Now, I think it's also important to note that what vitamin D3 is doing in the medical research. So what you're going to see here is from PubMed. Oh, I apologize. I skipped ahead. What you're going to see here is from PubMed. And this is a peer-reviewed article from about 3 years ago. And it showed vitamin D's efficacy to prevent acute respiratory tract infections. Guess what COVID-19 and coronavirus is? Exactly that. Okay. So what the medical research is showing is that if you have appropriate levels of vitamin D, you have a better chance of preventing this particular sickness and this disease. Pretty cool stuff. Okay, pretty inexpensive way in order to stay healthy, in order to stay well. Again, I've been taking 10,000 international units of vitamin D per day, really throughout the winter. That's kind of my winter protocol, but certainly now through this epidemic. All right, the next product that I think is important is vitamin C. Okay, now we talked about the antioxidant-rich foods and the citrus fruits. Okay, consume those. The problem is what I talked about earlier, the natural depletion of the vitamin C and the other nutrients that are in our food. The other response that I get a lot whenever it comes to vitamin C is that vitamin C is in my multivitamin, and that's great. I personally take a multivitamin. Most multivitamins have 200 milligrams of vitamin C per dose. Okay, I'm personally taking 10 times that amount. 2,000 milligrams of vitamin C per day. That would be 2 of these capsules. They're each at 1,000 milligrams. Okay. And that's not just my recommendation. Listen, guys, this is what medical doctors across the world have been using. Lots of research. This is from the New York Post just a couple of weeks ago, that hospitals in New York City are using vitamin C on the front lines in hospitals to combat those that are acutely affected by the coronavirus. Okay, so doesn't it make sense that we do the same things that's cheap and effective at home that our medical professionals are using on the front lines for those that are sick and diseased? For me, it does. So 2,000 milligrams per day is what I've been personally taking of the vitamin C product. Earlier, we talked about the importance of gut health and the immune system. Okay, so I love our Max GI product. I love probiotics. Okay, it's something I've been taking for probably a decade now, as I've been beginning to understand the importance of my gut health and my mood and my immune system, my libido, the hormones that are floating through my body are all directly attributed to GI health. Okay, we had mentioned earlier that it was the first step. Now, here's the problem. Most of you are taking a probiotic, and I commend you on that. Okay. But when it comes to this time of year and when it comes to this particular sickness, which is quite virulent, which means that it has a high infection rate, it is important that we're getting not only the appropriate amount of probiotics, but at the same time, the appropriate strains of probiotics. So the average probiotic supplement is about 10 billion probiotics per capsules. So this is going to be 5 times more potent than that. The average probiotic supplement has 2 strains of bacteria per capsule. This one has 10. Okay. So this here is a very complete, a very effective, and a very strong probiotic to help keep your gut healthy, to keep that gut-brain axis functioning appropriately, and something that I've been personally using over the last couple of weeks in order to help with my immune system. All right. The other one that we were talking about earlier is our garlic and parsley blend. So this is not just garlic, but it's actually that allicin compound, which we had talked about earlier, which was the active component of garlic. Okay. Not only is the modern research that we had talked about earlier when we were talking about that garlic slide, but also this has been a product that's been used for millennia. Greece, China, Rome, India have been using this through recorded history to help their cultures with infections and with sickness. One of the reasons we added parsley to this is that, believe it or not, parsley actually helps with the absorption of garlic. So not only are you taking the allicin, the active component, which is going to help your immune health, but then we've coupled that with parsley, which really helps the body absorb that for complete utilization. Okay, again, if the bundle doesn't make sense for you, if you got a couple of these products at home, but I'm talking about 1 or 2 that maybe does make sense, make sure you text the word bundle to the number below, and we will make sure that Heather gets you the information to order those and have those shipped directly to your home. Free shipping on all products over $49. Okay. The last product that I want to talk about, which I've been geeking out on for years now, is our Daily Defense product. I love this. So not only is this Daily Defense product great for musculoskeletal issues because it's great anti-inflammatory because of the curcumin and the turmeric. So specifically turmeric, most of us are aware of that, actually have compounds called curcuminoids, which are great anti-inflammatory molecules for the body. Not only does this help with musculoskeletal pain, but the less inflammation inside of the body, the more effective the immune system is. So something that I've, again, personally been taking over probably the last 5 years now, this particular product, but something I've been doubling up on over the last couple of weeks to help keep my body as strong and as healthy as possible. Okay. So what I want to get across to you guys, we're almost done, and we will get back online again on Thursday. So please share that with your family and your friends. We gave you a couple of numbers earlier, or a number with a couple of different codes to text in. Please take advantage of that. Share that with family members or friends. But then at the same time, whenever we get on that consult, we're also going to provide you one of our Immune Boost perspectives. So it'll essentially be tonight's notes, emailed in a PDF file for you so that you can have those to review at your leisure to share with family members and friends. Okay. I want to make it clear. Nothing that I spoke of tonight was about curing the coronavirus. Everything that I talked about tonight was allowing your body and doing what modern research shows helps the immune system be strong. And the stronger the immune system is, the more likely you are to be healthy and to be well. I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about your families. I'm thinking about your future. I'm thinking about us as a culture coming out on the other side of this thing stronger, healthier, and more aware of what we need to do in order to thrive. Okay, if you guys are on board with that, make sure you tune back again on Thursday evening at 7 o'clock. God bless and thank you.